What's up, guys? It's DigiDev here, back from a very long, well, not very long actually, medium length hiatus, if you will. I say not very long because I've been on longer breaks. I once was going for like 400 days, something like that. I don't think this has been quite so long, but it's still been pretty long. How you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. I don't actually care. So today, what brings me back to YouTube? Well, it's to share with you guys something that has bothered me since the inception of the universe, and that is film critics. I don't really like film critics. I've had this opinion for the longest time now. I've always been a bit of a film buff, but I don't like film critics. They probably wouldn't like me, to be honest. So what exactly caused me to make this video? Because as I said, I've had this opinion for a while now, but all of a sudden here I am voicing it. I mean, basically no one who knows me has actually heard me complaining about film critics before, so what's brought this on all of a sudden? Well, the other night, last night, in fact, I rewatched Joker. You might be wondering, why would you rewatch that all of a sudden? Well, that's because it had come back out on Sky recently. Well, I say come back out, it had come out, like, completely on Sky. So, I decided, and also, really, do I need an excuse to rewatch Joker? It's a masterpiece. It's an amazing film. One of the best of the decades, if you ask me. Yeah, definitely one of my favourites. I mean, I'm not really the kind of guy who has a favourite film, but I mean, this one's definitely up there. But I watched it, loved it, was blown away like almost as much as the first time I've seen it, so that was fun. And after I've watched a film, I sometimes like to go and search it up on Google. I'd like to see like what budget it had, how much it made. If I didn't catch any of the names of some of the actors or maybe the composer, the director, I'll look at that as well. But what else I'll do is I'll look at what the critics scored it. Except I've seen that this movie, Joker, which, you know, everyone knows it's really amazing, only has 68%, which, I mean, to some that might sound like, oh, that's pretty high, you know. But that's lower than like what Matrix Reloaded has. I'm not gonna go and bother to check right now, but I think it's lower than what Shark Tale has. Anyone who's seen that film, you know, and you'd be pleasantly surprised by that. So yeah, why was this film so low, I wondered. I was wondering, when it came out, of course, there was a bit of a controversy, if I remember. Like, people were saying that the riots in it, there's riots in the movie, and people were saying that they, like, condoned alt-right views or something, which is just ridiculous, you know. It was anything but, you know, it was like rioting against rich people, you know, so that's like basically the exact opposite of alt-right. That's like leftism. Yeah, so I was wondering if it was about that, but I went to check all the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and I found out it wasn't. People were genuinely criticizing this film, and I'm not saying people aren't allowed to criticize films, okay? I've done my fair share of criticizing lots of different films, not publicly usually, but you know, this film, it's really good. Pretty much everyone thinks it's amazing. So why has it got so much criticism? Like, when I checked the page, I read like 5 or 6 reviews, and I only saw one good one. The rest of them were complaining. So, I mean, why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because film critics, they thrive off of having this opinion which they know everyone disagrees with. Like the vast majority of people think, oh well, this film's good. They'll say, oh well, this film's not so good, because that's what they thrive off of. They thrive off of negative publicity. I particularly saw this one review, which I really didn't like. I really got quite angry at this. It was made by one Jordan Hoffman, and he had 2 words, well technically 3 words, but 2 words to say about the film, and they were bleak and juvenile. Bleak and fucking juvenile. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Let's look at Bleak first. Bleak, the film's like one of the most inspired films I've ever seen. It's got amazing cinematography work. It's got such a compelling score. You know, I mean, again, I'm not saying you can't criticize it. You can criticize any film. You can criticize every film. Not one film is flawless, but to say that it's bleak is completely invalid. It is anything but that. And yet this person says this, and I mean, just like, what? How have they become a top critic? They had a star next to the name and said fucking top critic when all they say is 2 words, both of which are completely invalid. Let me get on to juvenile, by the way. How on God's earth is that film juvenile? Let's talk about some of the physical violence in this film, because it's not for the faint-hearted, okay? There's like, how many people die in the film? There's the 3 guys, spoilers by the way, for the film. I mean, if you haven't seen it actually, then what on earth are you? Go see it right now. You have to see it. But basically, there's the 3 guys who get shot. They got shot multiple times, 2 of them, on the subway. Then there's some Arthur, the Joker, Arthur, he smothers his own fucking mother. That sounds very juvenile, doesn't it? Then there's the fact that he shoots Murray. He shoots Murray. He shoots him on television in the film, in the head. Shoots him again. He also kills a psychologist or something, psychiatrist, at the end of the film. There's lots of killing. There's brutal killing as well. Like, yeah, I forgot to mention the guy who used to work with. He gets fucking stabbed in the neck and the eye and gets his head slammed against the doorway. You know, what's juvenile about that? If I was fucking like 8 watching that, I'd be shitting myself. You know, that'd be terrifying for little juvenile me, you know. And then let's get on to like the themes and the commentary. You know, there's heavy themes of like the rich, like I mean, I can't really explain it without you actually having seen the film. There's like I don't know how to explain it. There's like themes of the rich like overlooking the poor. There's this really great line with Joker. You know, he's a very poor person in the film. He says that if he was dying off on the sidewalk, they'd all just tread over him, which is very true. And then there's also a commentary on like how we don't really help mentally ill people as much as we should. You know, those aren't juvenile. Those are very hard-hitting themes. Those are very dark themes, you know. So I don't get how this person could call a film bleak and juvenile. I've just realised I've gone on a tangent about this one fucking 8-brain person who can't seem to understand the concepts of a film. I've been meaning to talk about film critics as a whole, because, again, as I said, they thrive on having opinions that differ from like the vast majority. You know, if someone, most people say a film is good, they're probably gonna say the film is bad, cause that makes people get more riled up about them. If it's just the same person saying, "Oh, this film is good," "Oh, this film is also good," no one's gonna. If they are good films, that is, no one's gonna get angry at them. But when they are really good films, people are gonna get angry at them. Like I am right now. I'm feeding this cycle of, how film critics work. And what's more is it's not just Joker they give a bad rating to. It's not just some films. They give every fucking film under the sun a bad rating because, I didn't like this one particular bit. Actually there is no excuse. They just give everything they can an awful rating. I mean, films, at the end of the day, they're entertainment. You're supposed to enjoy them. That's what they're made for. Of course, you can go about looking at them from a critical way. You can look at them and say, "Oh, well, this film, I think, is better than this one because, yada yada." But it's just every single film to them is awful. And I mean, obviously, I'd get it if the film is actually awful. If it's like, I don't know, what's a bad film I can think of? Twilight. If it was Twilight, I'd understand giving it a bad rating. But it's literally every single film. And, you've got to listen to them. Because, they're a critic, Who are you gonna trust more when it comes to whether a film's good or bad or not? Are you gonna trust a guy you sit next to at the park and you get talking about films and he says, "Oh, this one film's really great," or the critic with a star next to his name and it says, "Oh, I'm a top critic, listen to me because I know what I'm talking about"? You know it's true. I mean, you trust the film critic, it's his job. It's his job to know what he's talking about. It's his job to criticize films, so he must be good at it if it's his job. Well, get a new job then. I mean, I know I can't speak, I'm the teenage guy who's just sitting here playing video games and making YouTube videos, but, why don't you get an actual job in filmmaking or something if you're so good at it and if you think you're better than everyone else? Because they do, they sit up there high in the clouds on their high horses, making their opinions heard, their opinions that go against the vast majority of people, and they say that their opinions are better than everyone else's because they're the film critic. And again, I'm gonna say this one more time, this is not true about every film critic. There's obviously gonna be diamonds in the rough. And I'm not about a few spoiled apples rotting the lot. It's just there's a lot of rotten fucking apples in the film critic scene. So anyway, that's my take on it. I'm done with this now. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a very unstructured, just out of the blue video. I mean, very out of the blue. This is my first upload in a few months. So yeah, if you liked it, then please do smash like. You feel free to. And, if you like this sort of video where I just sit down, don't really structure anything, and just rant continuously and exercise my poor English abilities, then go ahead and tell me in the comments if you like that. And also, if you're not already subscribed, then feel free to. I'd love to have you on the channel. And also make sure to turn notifications on so that you can know the 2 times I upload every single year. And with that, this is DigiDev, and I'm off.